Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming here and out there and wherever you might be. I want to talk a little bit about kind of embracing your inner data geek using Google Analytics, which you can very much use for your social media, email marketing, as well as your website, because really you want to focus on your website as sort of the foundation for your marketing message. So it is very important to utilize social media to engage your audience and get out there and communicate with your target audience and your potential customers and your existing customers, as well as vendor partners. But the idea is to drive them also to your website so that you can really control the message and share with them your unique position, your unique selling proposition. But you want to be able to track, and getting back to the whole ready, fire, aim concept, you want to fail and you want to fail fast. And what that means is you want to be able to try these different things, try different marketing messages, marketing tactics, and then you want to find out how successful or relatively unsuccessful they were so that you can continue to move it forward. So, okay. Oh, was that it? One of my favorite quotes is by Jann Mirchandani, who is sort of an early pioneer in mass marketing. And he says, "Half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half." So obviously probably most of us can kind of relate to that. You spend a lot of time and energy trying to get your message out there. Something's working, but you really don't know what the heck it is. So you want to use Google Analytics to take a look at some of those metrics and understand, well, what's working and what's not working. The idea behind looking at those metrics is you want to find out what information is actionable. You know, you're not just looking at the metrics to tell your marketing person, yeah, I'm looking at my Google Analytics, because that's not enough. You want to actually take action based on what information you're looking at. So this is your Foder's guide to Google Analytics. There's some key terms that you want to focus on and you want to understand what they mean. The first being your bounce rate. Your bounce rate is when somebody comes to your website and then immediately leaves, that's considered a bounce. Because obviously nobody's going to live on your website. They are going to come, consume your information, and then eventually leave. That's an exit versus a bounce, which is they click, they look and say, well, this isn't what I was looking for, and then immediately leave. The exit page is where they leave from. So I might come to your home page, and I might not. I might come from one of your blog posts. I might come directly to your About page because I found a link to your bio. So what page do they leave from once they get to your website? They come and they click around, and then they eventually leave. A new visitor is somebody who has not been to your website before. Now, this is a little bit of a squishy target, because all that really means is when Google is telling you how many new visitors you have, all they're saying is, I don't recognize this visitor because there's not a cookie set on their device. And a cookie is basically, think Hansel and Gretel, they leave a trail of crumbs. That just means that Google doesn't recognize that machine. So I might have been to your website on my laptop, but now I'm somewhere else and I'm looking on my tablet or my mobile device. They don't recognize me even though I have been there. So these are guidelines. This is not, a Bible. A new visit, once that cookie is set, I go to lunch, I come back to reading whatever it was that I was reading. It basically gets a time stamp. So a new visit is, I've been to the website before, I've left, and now I've come back. And that's what they're tracking with that. Direct traffic is somebody, maybe you hand your business card to somebody at a networking event, and they type in your URL, and they go directly to your website. There's been no Google search, there's been no Bing search, there's been no social media link or email link that they've clicked on to get to your website. So that's what we're looking at in terms of direct traffic. If you have a question on a term or something, feel free to just shout. once you understand sort of some of these terms, the key metrics that you really want to pay attention to are your visitors, your traffic sources, your keywords, and your content. And we're going to talk about those. The visitors are how many people are coming to your website, how many visits are you getting over a week or a month. You can take a look. This is just a tip. These are just plain vanilla reports. I have not drilled down in any way, shape, or form, and you can see over on the left-hand side, those are all of the links to get to the various reports. I just clicked on them. I have not done any kind of drilling down. This is just a visitor's overview, and you can see over time the relative ups and downs of traffic. You can see in the report below the number of visitors over this time period, unique visitors, page views, and the new visitors to returning visitors. So you have to determine for your business, am I really talking to mostly people who have never heard of me? Am I expecting people to come back? Do I have a blog that I want people to come back to and stay in touch with me on my website? And that's where you're going to start to get some information about what's happening on your website and what you need to be doing in order to improve your performance on the website and convert, obviously, to new business, which is what we're trying to do. Traffic sources. This is really important, especially when we're talking about actionable information. Again, we want to go past these reports to say, what direction am I providing my marketing team? What direction am I providing my sales team in terms of working with the content on the website? So when you're looking at your traffic sources, who's sending you new traffic? The number one here is just Google organic search. You get the source and you get the medium. So Google is the source, and just organic is the medium, meaning somebody's done a Google search to find my website. That's number one. Second one is direct, meaning I'm out there, I'm schmoozing, I'm networking in real time, I'm shaking hands, I'm giving people my business card, and they're getting to my website. Feed burner, hopefully you have an RSS feed, you have a blog on your website, you're using social media to encourage people to sign up, getting a lot of traffic that way. So you want to pay attention, and if you're getting, turning it back to your social media, are you getting, if you're spending a lot of time on LinkedIn, are you getting results from that? Are people coming to your website to learn more about you from LinkedIn, from Facebook, from Twitter? And you can pay attention to what's happening, where they're going on your website once they get there. So that's going to be really important, especially as you start to develop and fine-tune your social media strategy. Keyword searches. I always get a lot of feedback on this particular slide. You'll notice that the number one keyword term is not provided. Google does a little bit of bait and switch on this one, and I love Google, so I hate to talk bad about them, but I'm gonna for a little bit. Not provided means that somebody was logged into their Google account when they did a search, and when you're logged into your Google account and you do a search, you immediately get routed to a secure server, so they're basically stripping you of your keyword terms. And like somebody like me, I use Google for my mail, I use it for my calendar. I am always logged into my Google account, so none of the searches that I perform ever show up in any search results, which I don't get it either. I don't know. But once you move down past there, then you can start to see some keyword terms. What are people looking for when they ultimately find your website? This is different than keywords, targeted keywords for SEO strategy. This means this is what people are actually typing in when your website comes up in the search results versus your SEO keywords, which is what people are looking for when they should be finding you. It's not always the same thing, so you want to pay attention to that. But so you can see, well, are people finding you for your business name? They should be, hopefully. Are they looking for you if you do social media marketing and somebody types in, social media counseling Westchester, is your firm coming up? They should be finding you with related keyword terms. This is going to give you some information. If you're getting like these weird, kind of anomalies in terms of what people are typing in to find find you, then that tells you you need to start to write about other aspects of your business with very targeted keyword terms so that you start to bubble up when people are doing a search for those terms. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. And then the content is telling you what are people actually reading on your website. Once they get there, what are the pages that people are taking the time to look at? You should see, if you hopefully you have, again, going back, you have a blog on your website, your blog articles should be really right up at the top of this, because this is going to be giving information about what your area of expertise is. You want to create engaging content so that people aren't bouncing once they get to your website. You want them to drill down. You want them to click through and read other articles. And this is going to tell you where they're clicking and what articles are relevant. So again, somebody was asking, well, how do I come up with new content for my blog? Well, your audience is telling you what's relevant to them. So you can start to write about those kinds of things. You can drill down, make it, instead of having more generic topics, you can drill down into one particular aspect. And now you've got some really keyword-rich articles on your website that are based on what your audience is telling you is relevant for them. So,
question over here.
Sure.
My name is Joe Solon. I have an educational app called Prepston. I created a website, prepsta.net. How do I go about finding the Google Analytics for that? Would I go into my web.com construct and look for a web analytics tool, or do I put my
You
site
do have, you're going to get, good, that's an excellent question. Google Analytics is completely free. You do not have to pay for it. You do have to have a Google account set up. So if you have Gmail already, you're good to go. You go into Google Analytics, you sign up for a new account, and they're going to give you a little snippet of code that you need to drop into every page on your website. So hopefully you have a website where you have either a footer file. If it's a WordPress, you've got the footer PHP file or whatever snippet that your website is using, and it goes right in that footer, and it will populate on every page on your website. And that's really important, because if you only put it on certain pages, you're only tracking those pages. And that's it. You just drop in that snippet of code. Either you can do it or your web developer can do it. And then that's how they do it. You have a unique ID, and all of those, all of that code is going to be all over your website, and that's how they're tracking from one page to the next.
Then to see the results, would you go into Google and put in your URL?
You log back into Google Analytics, and now all of a sudden you're going to have a dashboard, and that's what we're looking at actually here. As you can see, the Google Analytics, I actually have the top of the web browser window cut off, but this is what you're going to look at. It's going to look exactly like this. And you've got, the Google Analytics, and then you're going to have, log into your particular, if you had multiple websites, you can have, you can be set up as a user on multiples, and you can just go into the various URLs and check the traffic for that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I will add to that, actually, because this might apply for some people. If you have a primary website and you have a blog that are potentially on 2 different platforms or even 2 different servers, you can use that same snippet of code on both of them and track from one to the other, so it will be seamless.
Hi. Didn't introduce myself before. I'm Howard Reese. Just actually started a new company called Healthy Practices, aimed at the healthcare community. And we're just putting up a new website. And my question with regards to content is, if the content is in the form of a PDF, is that going to be tracked through Google Analytics?
Good question. It can be, and we're going to get into that. What you're talking about, well, we are going to get to that, so, and if I don't answer your question specifically, follow up. You can, like I said at the beginning, the first 4 reports that we looked at, plain Jane, vanilla reports, didn't do anything fancy with them, but you can, and this is going to be particularly important for our international audience. If English is not the primary language on your website, or if it is, you can start to drill down based on English. I struggle enough with English as it is. I don't have any foreign language. So I know my audience is going to be, I'm really focusing on my English-speaking audience, and I can drill down. I want to filter out German and French and whatever other languages are out there, because I work primarily in the greater New York area. That's my target audience. So I'm not really focusing on international or across the country. So I want to focus on English speaking within the greater New York area, and you can drill down and do filters by that, and that's that include language, containing EN. I'm filtering out everything but the English speaking audience. You can drill it down and filter out by city, by state, by geographic area. Again, the idea is you want to focus on actionable information to help you better communicate with your target audience. Who is that audience? And you want to focus on the people who are coming to your website who are going to do business with you. You don't care about the looky-loos. They're on their own. They're just taking information, which is fine, but you want to focus your time and your energy on people who are going to pick up the phone, send you an email, and ultimately hire you to do business with them. So pay attention to the advanced filters, because that's going to help you drill down and find some of this actionable information.
Sorry to interrupt, but I also want to go the other way on this. Is if you have an international audience that you're communicating with, couldn't this also be really helpful to determine when and if you translate your website to other languages?
Absolutely, and that's exactly it. You can go both ways with this. You can filter out English speakers. You know, if you know that you've got a niche market and maybe you're focusing in, you know, a specific community, even here in the States or wherever you might be, that is, you know, speaking another language. Maybe they speak French and you're looking for French speakers in, you know, the greater New York area, or you're looking at German speakers in the greater New York area. You can do exactly that. And that's what's great about Google Analytics. It really helps you drill down to a very niche audience. I will repeat, okay. So again, when you're drilling down to the content, you can start to sort. You know, where are people, when they come to my website, how are they getting to my website? I said before, you know, a lot of us, when we start to design the website, we assume that they're coming to the home page because it's the home page, and we think of it as the front door to our house. But it doesn't really work that way, especially in this age of social media, where somebody might be sharing a link to your audience. Hopefully they are. So if you write an article about, you know, social media marketing, and you share that through your various channels, there's going to be a whole slew of people that are coming to your website on that particular page. And you want to pay attention to your top landing pages. So what you can do is you click through via the content piece of the Google Analytics, and you start to sort it. What are my percentage of new visitors to this landing page? Out of all of my visits to my home page or my latest article, how many of those people are new visitors? How many are returning visitors? And that's, again, going to give you information about, you know, you can create content specifically to people who might not be familiar with you, and you can start to pay attention to, am I getting traction with that content? So you can really start to drill down and look at it in a variety of different ways. You can also, I don't have an example of it, but you can look at pie charts for those of you who are more visual learners. You can do bar charts, and you can start to look at the relative performance of one page against another on your website. So again, we talked a lot about strategy. And this is where we get into the question about, you know, PDFs, and I have this content that I know, you know, I'm creating specifically for my target audience. I have a good handle on who I'm talking to, but what's a conversion? What does success look like for you on your website? You want to make sure that you have a really clear idea of where you're going. You know, if it's e-commerce, it's easy. You know, the more sales I make, the more successful I am. If my sales go down, I know something's going on and I need to adjust. But for those of us who are, you know, B2B or, you know, even nonprofits, it's not always so easy, because it's not necessarily going to be linked directly to a dollar value. So you have to think about, well, my goal is to increase brand awareness. I want to let people know who I am. Or I want to establish credibility. You know what? I'm new in my field, or I'm changing careers, or, you know, I've got a new business. I really need to let people know I know what the heck I'm talking about. So those might be your kind of higher level goals of what you're trying to accomplish with your website. The next step, once you understand what you're trying to do, is defining success. You know, easy. It's dollar sales. But for somebody like the gentleman was just asking the question, maybe your conversion is, I want people to download this PDF. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to funnel everybody who comes to my website to get to this PDF page and then actually download it. I have a client who really for him success is, I just want people to, I have this great free trial. Once I get people in the free trial, it's, we're good to go. That for him is success. He wants the sign-ups, and so that's what we're going to be tracking for him. So once you define conversion, and then you're starting to set up goals, and you can go in, again, we're drilling down. This is all still within the Google Analytics dashboard. You're going to click on admin, go into your profiles, and set up a goal. And you're going to create a name, and there's 4 different types of goals. There's a URL destination, a visit duration, page per visit, and events. And I will tell you honestly, the 2 that I really pay attention to are the URL destination and event. The other 2, might be relevant for you if you're really trying to get people to consume a lot of content. You've got long articles, but for me, it's debatable how much value is in that. So the URL destination is, you want people to sign up for a free trial. So wherever they come in from, we're trying to get them to the free trial page. They put in their name and their email, and then sign up, and once they click submit, they go to a thank you page. That is a successful conversion. Getting to that destination URL, the thank you page, that's how we're defining our goal here. That's how we're defining success. For the event, it's the same thing. Once they get to that page with a PDF, did they actually download it? That's what we want to measure. Because you may find that, you get 100 visitors to that page, but only 10 people are actually downloading the PDF. Clearly there's a disconnect and something needs to happen, and that's where the metrics really shine, because you can start to drill down to that information. That's actionable. You know what, maybe the link isn't working properly. So people are landing on the page, but nobody's downloading it. That's giving you some really important information. Rate for your shopping cart. A lot of people are adding stuff to their shopping cart, but not buying a lot. Maybe there's a problem with the checkout process. Maybe you need to add multiple pages within that process so that you can really start to understand, oh, well, you know what? People are having trouble going from the shipping information to the billing information. There's a problem with that. And that's where you're going to find out this information. So now here, the relative performance. Again, this is what I was referring to earlier, where you can take a look and see, well, you know what? I've got one page that's really outperforming. I'm getting a lot more conversions from that particular page. I'm getting a lot of people who are visiting that page versus any other page on my website. And what page is that? Well, it happens to be a LinkedIn referral. So you can start to pair up what you are doing to try and move your business forward with what your results are, what's actually helping you. So you can start to focus on what's working and spend less time on the stuff that's not working. For you old school folks, and I actually consider myself one of them, Google Analytics is not just for those of us who live in the geek world. If you do traditional marketing, you can certainly still use Google Analytics. If you're sending out a postcard, if you're doing ads in local papers, you can create a custom URL and create what's called a query string, so that you can track. I'm sending out postcards through the WCC. I'm sending out postcards through the Business Council. And you have a different URL for each, and you can see, well, you know what? I'm getting a lot of traction with one campaign versus another campaign. So you can even pair the metrics for your website with what you're doing offline. Again, so you're spending your money wisely. You want to find out which half of your marketing budget is working and which half isn't, and you can do that even with your traditional marketing. So this is really just the surface. I know we were short on time, so I'm happy to answer any questions, any problems anybody's had, or specific implementation